And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
Howdy folks, Darren back with you again here at Cross Timbers Farm. Welcome to 8th Day Chronicles. We're glad to have you with us today. We are in the pasture today. We brought you along out into our furthest back pasture, and we're doing some maintenance with this pasture and working with it to get it ready for hay next year. This pasture, when we bought this property, had been grazed by cattle, and it's really steep below me. It starts right here and it dives really off. If you can see some of the trees behind me, if you go down to those trees, all the way to the base of those trees, and pull the line level straight with me, you'd probably be 50, 60 feet up in that tree. So we're pretty high up on this hill. So what's really below me down here is unusable for hay, because it's just so steep we can't get a tractor on it safely to cut or bale any hay. So, but that works out perfect for our farm plan. What we will be doing is rotational grazing back here, and we will section this off and graze our dairy goat herd on this part. And dairy goats and goats in general, they love steep places. I mean, they just thrive in that environment. You've all heard the saying, this is a goat trail, talking about trails that go up through the woods on real steep places. And you know, people say that guy can climb like a goat. You know, they love steep places. They just thrive in it. So anything much below me here will be used for rotational grazing, but this top section here is level enough to where we can bale hay on it. And we will still put animals on this during the winter, some, and even some in the summer. Let them graze it down a little bit, but we can manage and cut some hay off this section up here. So years past, it's only been used for cattle grazing, and my daughter had a couple of quarter horses on it for a while, and it's got some really good grass in it. Stands of it's mostly tall fescue. It's got some good stands of orchard grass in places, but it's got a lot of weeds. We're going to be doing soil samples further and working with this dirt and trying to get this section, small section here, to top quality grass hay. There's not a lot of legumes in this back here. We're going to have to improve that. We really need to get some stands of red clover going. Not a lot of it. We like it mixed on a ratio of about 5:2. So we got to get that going, but we got to get our weeds under control. And it's now fall of the year, and we've got some broom sage in it in places. It's not good. That's really close to seeding out, so we're going to knock that down so we don't have to deal with more broom sage seeds getting into the ground. We're going to get that knocked down today, and we're going to get this top section here mowed down. A lot of the weeds, it's that time of year that the weeds are really seeding. We've got a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of horse nettle, and like I said, the broom sage. We got to get it all knocked down before this goes to seed, so we can really work this area next year, and this winter and this spring, and maybe, you know, we'll see what happens. But you can't rush your dirt. You got to get timing out. One thing that I have found, I've been out here and I've been digging around and looking and scratching around in the grass and looking, and this dirt back here is full of life. It is full of life. For the last 3 or 4 years, the only thing that's been on this really has been a bush hog. So it's got a lot of organic matter, down on the dirt. There's been no animals on it in 3 or 4 years, and it's just been bush hogged, so all the organic matter has just been on the ground, and the dirt and the soil and the sod looks really good. There's a lot of life in it. I mean, a lot of life. So we got a good starting point here, a really good starting point to make this one section here a primo grade A, number 1, A+ hay crop. So if we can get our orchard grass going a little better and get us some legumes, some red clover going in it, and get rid of all these weeds. It's got a problem with weeds and the broom sedge. If we can get rid of this stuff and start a program now in the fall to start really working this dirt through this fall and this winter and spring, I think we might be on to something here for some top shelf hay. So let's take a look. Let me show you around, show you kind of what I'm doing today. Okay folks, I actually do not have out the Kubota today. This was readily available for me to use today. I already had it out this morning. I tell you what, if you farm and let's just say you're starting a farm, you've just bought a patch of ground and you're wanting to put some livestock on it, or farm hay, whatever your plan is, and you bought a small farm, the very first thing you should probably go buy yourself is an ATV. Our Honda Foreman, and it's an older model, it's like a 2006, but we bought it used, and it only had like 60 hours on it when we bought it 10 years ago. And this little machine has been invaluable. We use it almost daily on the farm. We haul feed to the barn from the truck. We use it to run errands all around the farm. We use it to check fences. We use it to haul fencing equipment. I mean, it's just used continually. And we keep it maintenanced and keep everything done well on it, but this little machine's been invaluable. But the next thing that we have, that we bought several years ago, is a pull-behind brush hog, or bush hog, or mower, whatever you want to call it. It's a rough cut mower. And let me give you a little quick look at it. It's an Agri-Fab, and we really like it. It's been a good little machine. We've used it for years and years. We've had this little Agri-Fab bush hog for at least 6 years, 7, and we bought it used. It had been used for a couple of years by a gentleman. He took good care of it, and we bought it from him, and we use it to mow this steep, if you can see down in there, that is some steep ground. Now the camera's not doing it justice. If you really looked off in there, I'm not sure exactly the degree of the slope, but it's steep. And I can take this Honda Foreman 4-wheel drive. It's a 500cc, and I can hook up this little Agri-Fab pull behind, and I can actually side hill mow this pasture down here. It's so steep. I can't get a tractor on it at all, but I can get this thing. This little Agri-Fab mower sits so low to the ground and hugs the ground that the center of gravity on it's really low, and it will just hug right on the side of a hill, and it does a really good job for what it is. You get into high stuff, and sometimes you have to slow down and let it take its time. It does have a 12.5 horse Briggs & Stratton engine on it, and it is electric start and all that good stuff. So it's served us very well. We sharpen the blades on it occasionally and keep the oil changed, and mow off these steep hills with it. It does great, and that's what I'm using today. As you can see, the job it does. I've made a couple of passes so far, and it does really well for a rough cut mower. It's not a finish mower. You're not going to get no nice smooth cut with it, but it is what it is. It's a rough cut, and it does have a stump jumper under it. So let's take a quick look at this pasture, and I'll show you what we've got to work with here. Okay folks, if you look right here, here's some of our weeds we're dealing with in this pasture. We'll start with the weeds, and as you can see, some pretty orchard grass there and a lot of tall fescue. Right here, this is Indian plantain, and while some people says, oh, let your animals graze it, I don't want it in the hay. So we got to get rid of that. And as you can see, we've got horse nettle, and the horse nettle is pretty much all over this pasture. It's not just super thick, as you can see, but then there's some and there's some. I mean, it's here, and if we don't get it under control, then we're gonna have problems with our hay. So we also have right here, this is panic grass. A lot of people confuse panic grass with Johnson grass. This is not Johnson grass, it's panic grass. Right here, it doesn't grow near as tall and big as Johnson grass. And you can see this has got a seed head on it. I should have mowed this field to keep that from seeding, but it does have seed head on it. And there's not a lot of this panic grass back here. There's some. I've kind of walked it for some time and done an analysis of what all we got, and there's some of it around. So, but we do have some beautiful stands of some orchard grass here. And I'll show you right here a prime section of orchard grass. You can see it. We've got some really nice thick stands of orchard grass right in here. It's nice looking grass. If we can beat down the weeds and the competition from the weeds, like here's more of horse nettle, and we got quite a few things going on here that we just got to deal with to get this under control for prime hay. I mean, you can see is right there, we've got some really beautiful stands of orchard grass already here, and we need to do some more seeding. And the deer is probably not going to be happy with me. There's a big deer bed. The deer's been, here's another one. The deer's been sleeping in there, bedding down in the pasture out here at night on the other side of the fence from our livestock dogs. Up there's another one and another one. They've been 8 or 9 deer just bedded right here. But anyway, enough about the deer. We do have some deer tongue in this pasture. Right here, you can see it. Okay, that's a small one, but that's deer tongue. Okay, you guys out there and ladies that are really into forages and have done a lot of studying, somebody leave me some suggestions on what do we need to do to get rid of the deer tongue. I know that deer tongue, like it seems to me that once it takes hold, it just spreads like wildfire, and it can really crowd out any of your grasses, your desirable grasses for your hay. So suggestions, if anybody has a way to eradicate this deer tongue without glyphosate or spraying the whole pasture and starting over, I would love to hear it. Right there's a little bit of red clover. We don't have a whole lot of red clover in this back pasture, but that's something we're going to have to improve on. But we do have some really, really nice stands of orchard grass and a lot of tall fescue. I mean, a lot of tall fescue. And it's thick. This grass, what grass is here that's competing with the weeds, we have some really good grass. There's some more horse nettle. It's pretty well about everywhere you go. It's not thick, but it's everywhere. That we got to really get under control. But you can see we've got some really nice stands of orchard grass and a lot of tall fescue, a lot more tall fescue in this section of pasture than we have in the rest of our pastures. Like right here, I want you to look at what a patch of orchard grass. I mean, that's beautiful. That's lush. That's great. But we've really got to get the weeds under control. I mean, we just got to get them under control. So we're going to knock this down today with the ATV and the brush hog. And it's not a real huge pasture, maybe an acre up here on the top. Maybe, well, no, I'd say a little more than an acre. It's probably an acre and 3/4, maybe 2 acres. That we can get some really nice hay off of next year, but we got our work cut out for us. So we're going to get back on the Honda Foreman and fire back up the Agri-Fab brush hog and get all this knocked down before these weed seed heads have time to develop any further than they already are. So stick with us and we'll get this finished up. Okay, folks, we have had to retreat. We had a shower blow in on us, and it's been really breezy here today. I watch the weather pretty regularly, being a farmer, and we haven't had rain in a week and a half probably, and it's been really nice weather, but we've had no rain. And a couple of weeks ago we had a lot of rain, but the last week we've had hardly no rain, and a week and a half I'd say. But the weather today said a chance of some rain because we're having a cold front blow in, and the temperatures tomorrow is going to go from the last few days we've been in the mid 80s, and it's going to drop to maybe the upper 60s to low 70s for the next several days. So a front's pushing in, and it's bringing some showers with it, and thank God for the rain. He lets it rain on us right when we need it, and our fields were needing some rain, and it don't look like we're going to get a lot, but we'll get what we need, I guess, and we'll be happy with it. So it's ran us in. We pulled real quickly into the shed to get the ATV and the mower out of the rain, and so we're going to wait this rain out a little bit, and then we'll take you back out in the field and show you kind of what we've got accomplished, and give you a closer look up at the dirt and the soil out there, how rich it is, and life, and we'll go from there. So catch you back shortly when this rain stops. Okay, folks, we're back at it. We've been back in the field for about an hour now, hour and a half, and we got a good shower this evening. It didn't rain a whole lot, but it rained some, and we'll take it. So we're blessed to get the rain we got, so we're glad for that. And we're done for the day of mowing with the Honda and the Agri-Fab. We got the far back pasture here cut and mowed. Got the weeds knocked down, and it's looking good. Hopefully what we did will limit our weed growth. It's pretty weedy back here. We got our work cut out for us. There's some really good grass, but there's also a lot of weeds. But I think the top section of this pasture, we can make some really nice hay off of it if we'll just get some dirt under our fingernails and get to work. I think that it's very, very possible. So let's take a look at the dirt. You know, a soil sample will tell you what you need to know as far as pH levels and stuff like that, scientific stuff that is really good knowledge to have, to know what to do with your dirt. But you know, I think a lot of times folks just miss the point of taking a hoe or a rake or a little bitty garden shovel or something, just randomly picking you a spot and just dig you up a little bit of your dirt. Push through the sod and look at the sod and look at your dirt. Feel your dirt, smell your dirt. Look at it for life in it when you're doing a little test area. Soil samples in the lab is all good and well. I'm 110% for that. We do it. But also, I encourage you to get your hands dirty. Get in there and to kind of just feel around your soil. Look at it in different places, as the old timers would do. I mean, just get in there and look at your dirt, feel of it, smell of it. Just observe it for a few minutes and just look at it and see what it's doing, if there's life in it. And let's go do that right quick in this plot back here. Okay. We're just a few feet from our ATV here. We just walked down here and chose a random spot. We're gonna take a quick look at this dirt. Got a little garden shovel, just a little bitty shovel I stole from Susan's flower bed supplies. Don't tell her I've got it. And let's just see what we got right here. Right here would be a really good spot to look. All kind of fescue and orchard grass right here. Okay, let's just pull us up a little spot right here. Right here's what we're going to look at. Okay, we've got us a little spot raked away here. Okay, first thing that I see is lots of organic matter down in this sod. That's from several years of not cutting the hay off this and just bush hogging it. Okay, we got quite a bit of fescue here and some orchard grass. This spot is mainly looks like the fescue patch, but there's a little bit of as you can see there, orchard grass right next to it. But let's just take a look right in this. Okay, I'm already seeing a really strong root base. A really strong root base. Sod. The roots are really thick. Okay folks, we've dug a little hole here, just a little small one. You don't need to go around and dig up your whole pasture. But this looks really, really good. The dirt looks really rich. The sod is really thick. This has, look at the roots in that. This tall fescue has a really thick root base going. Just a mat of it. Okay, right there is probably some orchard grass root. And it looks really nice. Okay, on down in the dirt here, looks nice. It's moist to the touch. Even though we've not had much rain in a week and a half, this thick sod is really holding the moisture in the ground really good. I'm happy with that. And like I said earlier, sometimes you just need to get your hands in it, just feel of it. It's moist. It's got a good root mat to it. There's a lot of organic matter even way down in here. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Okay, I think we got something to work with here. I really do. This looks great, and we got to get to work. We got a lot of work to do back here. Okay, I'm liking what we're seeing back here in this pasture. I see a lot of work needs to be done, but I also see a dirt foundation here. Something for us to start with that looks really good. It looks promising. We've got a lot of work to do, but we'll get a soil sample hopefully this week or the first of next and get that analyzed and get the results. But the initial feelings that I have about this, and feeling the dirt, looking at the dirt in just a random spot, looks good. I think we got a really nice piece of canvas here to work with, so to speak. I think the dirt is in pretty darn good shape. And this is a steep hillside, so you know, you have drainage with the rain, which is a good thing, but if you don't get much rain, then your top of your hillsides can get pretty dry quick of the summer. But the Lord has blessed, and we've not had a really dry summer, any kind of drought conditions in a pretty long time. So this summer, this pasture back here was really lush and tall and a lot of weeds. We got to get under control, and that's one of the first things we're going to have to do: get our soil samples and then get these weeds under control before we do anything else. We gotta do weed management. And the wind's really blowing here. I don't know if you can see these trees and leaves blowing by them. We're getting some pretty stiff winds here this afternoon. This cold front blowing in, but thanks for coming along with us this afternoon and here in our back pasture where we're going to be doing a pretty big fencing job, probably sometime during the winter, and getting this pasture ready for rotational grazing. Now that we've got a water source back here in our land-to-house ram pump, and to put animals back here during the summer while our hay fields grow, and keep the animals out of those areas. We don't mind the animals being in the hay areas during the winter. It's actually probably pretty good for it. Some hoof traffic on it, and manure and things like that. It's actually good for it. But we got a nice pasture back here that we need to utilize, and we couldn't utilize it until we had water on it, and we have, thanks to Land to House, we've solved that issue. And now it's time for us to get to work on our dirt back here and our fences. And I think this top section, a couple of acres, we're going to utilize for hay. We can do rotational grazing and pull up electric fence that we can move to move the animals from spot to spot, you know, every week, the dairy goat herd. So it's looking really good. The little mower and everything done really good today. We're happy with it. And I'll walk right down here with you and show you the pasture where we're actually gonna use for our rotational grazing, and why we don't mow it for hay. And when I was cutting this with the ATV and the bush hog a while ago, you know, you going over it, and the stand of grass that's down in here is phenomenally good. I mean, it's like primo orchard grass and fescue, and there's a lot more orchard grass down in here, and red clover. There's not much red clover up here. We're going to have to do something about that. But to get you a perspective, there's how steep that is, and the camera's not doing it justice. I'm sure of that. We'll get to work on this dirt, and we're very happy to have you with us today here at Cross Timbers Farm, to come along with us as we cut this the field to control the weeds. And we're going to get to work here on the dirt soon, and Thanks for being with us. We really appreciate it. And you know, the subscribers we've been getting lately, a lot of folks has been leaving some comments, and we really appreciate that. It lets us know that you're interested in what we're doing here, and you like this kind of content. And the folks that are subscribing and commenting and all, it seems like we are getting the cream of the crop subscribers. Folks that are coming to our channel and subscribing seem to be really kind-hearted people and leave really nice comments and good suggestions, and we really appreciate that very, very much. And if you haven't subscribed, we'd encourage you to. Your subscribing to our channel encourages us to make more content. So thank you very much for being with us this evening here at Cross Timbers Farm on the 8th Day Chronicles channel. God bless and have a good evening.